Hello and welcome to this video on about creating state machine with AI autonomous agent. This is only part one, preparation phase. There will be a part two where I will illustrate the implementation. So as you know, Power Automate does not support state machine. And in the previous year, I've experimented many pattern for bypassing this limitation on state machine. And you can take a look at them on my blog in 2018, right? So basically here, the goal here is an experiment that I've done recently where I want to be able to leverage the LLM as a large language model, which is part of Copilot Studio, as a way to orchestrate a state machine. Okay, and I will show you in the first place what the state machine logic is all about, and in another video I will show you how to implement this in a real use case. Okay. So I'm not saying that this is actually a good practice. It's just an experiment, right? Let's describe the state machine behind the business process that we want to implement. So basically, we want to implement approval content, and a user submit content, new content, and this content will have to be validated by different actors in the company. We have advisors. So advisors is a group of people who will validate the content submitted by the user, and the content might be rejected. If it's rejected, then user have to update the content, and if it is approved, so if advisor approve it, then the secretariat, a group of people, will validate the style of the content, and then if the style is approved, then the boss will authorize the publication, then the content will be published. If it's rejected by the boss, then the content won't be published. Sorry. If the secretariat rejected the style, then the user will have to update the style, but we don't have to go through the content validation by advisors. Okay? So it's a quite simple state machine. And this state machine is not easy to be implemented with Power Automate because Power Automate does not understand the concept of state machine. Power Automate only understands sequential workflow, even though there are workarounds. Okay, once the state machine has been designed, you need to have or to generate a description, a text description of this diagram. And with this text description, you will feed an agent. To do this, you can import the state machine diagram into Copilot for Microsoft 365, Copilot Chat, and you can ask Copilot to generate a text description. And this should work. You get your state machine text description, and you can copy and paste this into an agent. Let's create an agent with Copilot Studio. That's the next step. Let's keep this. The name, let's name it state machine, or even better, ShareQL. So ShareQL is my company, shareql.com. ShareQL state machine approval. A description, and more important, you will have to copy and paste the all the instruction that describe the state machine, right? From Copilot to Copilot Studio. And in the instruction pane, but it does not keep the style. So what we can do is, yes, ask Copilot to generate a notepad friendly description that notepad, and then I can copy and paste this into Copilot Studio, instruction, okay, like this. Let's put that into Copilot Studio, instruction pane. So this will feed the LLM. Of course, you need to provide a description that describe your agent. This will be used in the future to make your agent findable. But what really matters here is the instruction set, right? So this is your business logic, the instruction set. And we're going to use this LLM to as the orchestration machine for the state machine, basically. Okay, so I don't have any topic yet, but the step here is that you need to test. Yeah, don't forget to enable the AI orchestration. That's important. Like this. Make sure the web search is disabled. We don't have any topic yet. Publish your agent, and this agent is now ready to be tested before implementing the topic. So make sure that the logic of the state machine is well understood by the agent. And the only way to do this is to test it in the first place, right? All right. Now let's simulate a new content, a user publish a new content. What is the next step, right? And of course, in the test, the system keep the context of the conversation. The next step is for advisor to validate content. That's right. Now, the advisors approved the content. So what's next? The next step is for Secretariat to validate the style. So you don't have to ask the next step. The system doesn't know that you want to know the next step. Secretariat doesn't approve the style. Then it will need to be sent back to the user to update the style, right? So the user has updated the style. The next step is Secretariat need to validate it again. Secretariat approved the style. Then normally the next step is the boss, right? So the boss to authorize publication. The boss approved, and the next step is the content will be published, right? So that works. So we can test a different path, but this step, this phase, testing phase, is very important in the process. So spend a lot of time into making sure that the state machine is fully understood by the LLM, right? So the next step will be to start creating the topics. Bare minimal, right? So almost no implementation in topics, just to make sure that the system goes to this different stage, because each topic will be actually a state in the state machine. Okay, so this is the text description. So we can create a topic right now. This is my state machine, right? So each step is a topic. So let's go. You can start from blank and describe it afterward, or you can ask Copilot to generate a description. So first topic is user submit new content, has submitted a new content. Let's save it and let's name this this topic. Yeah, I'm going to use the same here. The description is the name, right? So we have to do that for all the topics. Okay, so after a while, I didn't show you the creation of all the topics, but this is what I have. Okay, advisor validate content, boss is validating publication, secretary validate the style, user submitted new content, user update the content, user update the style, right? So far it's very easy. And when it's done, we can test the LLM and the topic. So this phase is important, right? So this is my state machine, right? So normally I have one stage for each, one topic for each state. Okay, good. Right. Let's change this one, validate the publication. So far, I'm keeping the description quite short because I have a business description in the overview, in the agent instruction. So I don't want to duplicate the business logic in the instruction and in the topic, even though you will see that at some point you need to do it, right? So far I keep the topic description quite simple. Normally based on this, the LLM should understand, right? Let's double check. User without S. Okay. All right. So now let's start a new conversation and let's test this agent with the topics. And you will notice that you might have some discrepancies compared to what we had before. So let's say, again, a user submit has created a new content, right? And this is strange because normally when the user has submitted, we should only ask advisor to validate. But here, the system go to advisor, to secretariat, and to boss, right? And publish the content directly. So there is something wrong, either in the topic description or in maybe the topic name, right? Because in the overview, the business logic description was fine, and I've tested. So this is weird. Okay, the overview is fine. Let's try again. Create a new conversation. A user has created a new content, and let's see, nobody has validated yet. When I say that, same same logic, right? Right. So what I believe is that we need to change the topic description. You can check in the activity what happened, but you can also interrogate the LLM, right? You can. So you can ask LLM why. It's a way to debug your agent, right? Because the content was approved by the advisor. So, but I've never approved. So I think, why did I mention that it was approved by advisor? It was approved. Oops. So I think it's the name or the topic description that I will have to update. So instead of mentioning that, for instance, advisor validate the content, I should mention waiting for advisor to validate the content, something like this. It could be the name, waiting for advisor to validate the content, something like this. That's so we have to be very careful when we name or when we describe. Same for secretariat, waiting for secretariat to validate the style. And same for boss, right? To validate the style. Anyway, lesson learned. Waiting for boss to validate the publication. Okay, let's try again. A user publish new content. Oops, a user. No, it should be better. Yes. Okay, this changed everything. So that's cool. Advisor approved. Secretariat rejected. So user need to update the style. So this state machine works well. Style updated. Okay. Content updated, waiting for Secretariat to validate the style. Secretariat approved. We now need to go to boss, right? So boss approved and content will be published. Okay, so don't forget these phases. Test the LLM, test the overview, the instruction, and then test the topic. You might have differences. Okay, so now we are ready for the implementation. The implementation take a while, and so I will just show you the final solution in the next video, right?